Ariana had been a maid at the Astor Grand Hotel for only 3 months when her life collided, quite literally, with Damian Hale, the man every financial magazine worshipped and every business rival feared. The billionaire CEO. The youngest tech magnate in the city. The man who believed the world bent for him simply because he willed it to. She didn't care who he was. That morning, she was wheeling her cleaning cart down the corridor of the penthouse floor, humming under her breath, unaware that her life was about to shift. The elevator bell chimed behind her. She turned, and walked straight into a man dressed in a charcoal suit worth more than her monthly salary. Her bucket toppled, his tablet clattered, water splashed across his polished shoes. He stared at them, then at her, with the kind of disbelief only the rich perfected. "Are you blind?" Ariana straightened, brushing her hair from her eyes. "Are you incapable of watching where you walk?" His eyes narrowed. "Do you have any idea who I am?" "Nope," she said, picking up the bucket. "And I don't really care." For a moment, Damian Hale looked as if the universe itself had malfunctioned. No one talked to him like that. Not clients, not employees, not even his board. But this girl with a messy ponytail and a maid's uniform had somehow short-circuited his superiority. He stepped closer. "I could have you fired. And I could report you for insulting staff," she replied calmly, kneeling to wipe the floor. "We'd both be wasting time." Damian opened his mouth, closed it, then stalked off, muttering under his breath. Ariana watched him go, unimpressed. Men like him had never scared her, not after everything she'd lived through. She had cleaned houses for people who thought poverty was contagious, endured bosses who treated her like furniture. But she had survived, and she would again. Damian expected never to see her face again. Yet later that afternoon, when he returned to his suite to pick up a forgotten charger, he found Ariana inside, meticulously making the bed. She didn't see him at first. She was humming again, her voice soft, unpolished but strangely comforting. The curtains were open, sunlight pouring over her as she smoothed the sheets with precise, gentle motions. "Do you always sing while working?" he asked abruptly. She jumped, turning sharply. "Do you always sneak into rooms without knocking?" "It's my suite, and I'm working in it." He crossed his arms. "You're different." "Different how?" "People usually apologize to me. Or flatter me. Or at least pretend to like me." "That sounds exhausting," she said, plumping a pillow. "Maybe they want something from you. And you don't." "I want my paycheck on time," she said lightly. "From the hotel, not from you." Damian stared at her as though he were staring at a puzzle. Something about her irritated him. Something else intrigued him. "Have dinner with me." Ariana paused mid-fold. "What? Dinner? Tonight? I'll send a car." "No." Damian blinked. He had been rejected before, of course, but rarely so immediately. Rarely so cleanly. "No," he repeated. "I don't mix work with whatever you're imagining. It's not what you think." "Of course it is," she said dryly. "Men like you don't invite maids to dinner because they want to discuss laundry detergent." For the second time that day, Damian Hale was left speechless. The next morning, the hotel manager summoned Ariana. She entered the office expecting reprimand, or worse. Instead, the manager stood awkwardly beside Damian, who looked strangely embarrassed. "I told him I'm not interested," she said before either of them spoke. Damian cleared his throat. "I didn't ask the manager to call you so I could insist again. I came to apologize." Ariana raised an eyebrow. "I was rude," Damian admitted, the words sounding unfamiliar on his tongue. "You didn't deserve that." Her expression softened slightly, but her arms remained crossed. "I don't expect dinner," he continued quickly. "But I'd like to talk to you. Without agendas." Ariana exhaled slowly. "Talking isn't dangerous," she said. "Fine. 5 minutes." They met later in the hotel garden, where Ariana sat on a bench under an old oak. Damian joined her, hands clasped awkwardly. He asked about her life. She gave him pieces, never the whole story. She asked about his empire. He answered, but she seemed less impressed than curious. "You're lonely," she said at one point. He bristled. "I'm busy." "That doesn't mean you're not lonely." He didn't respond. You're used to everyone agreeing with you, she continued. It must be strange to talk to someone who won't. It's refreshing, he admitted. She smiled faintly. Then talk. Not as Damien Hale, billionaire. Just as Damien. And he did. For the first time in years, he spoke honestly, about the pressure, the emptiness success never filled, the betrayals he kept hidden behind his cold exterior. Ariana listened quietly, without judgment, without awe. When 5 minutes became an hour, she stood. Time's up, she said gently. Can we talk again? He asked. Maybe, she said. They talked again the next day. And the next week. And again after that. It wasn't romance, not at first. It was two people from opposite worlds meeting in the middle. Damien found himself waiting for her breaks, seeking her out, asking her opinion on things no one else dared comment on. Ariana challenged him. She called out his arrogance. She taught him to listen. And somehow, without intending it, she became the anchor he never knew he needed. But the world noticed. Rumors spread through the hotel. Someone leaked a photo, Damien laughing, really laughing, while sitting beside a maid on a bench. Board members whispered, journalists hunted, and Damien's ex-fiancée, Celeste Kingsley, returned like a storm. Celeste confronted Ariana first, cornering her near the staff elevators. You're enjoying this attention, aren't you? Celeste sneered. A maid with a billionaire's interest. Ariana's jaw tightened. Whatever you're imagining, it isn't happening. It better not, Celeste said coldly. He belongs in my world. Not yours. Ariana walked away without replying, but the words stung more than she admitted. When Damien discovered what happened, he was furious. She had no right. She's not wrong, Ariana said quietly. What? You and I live in different galaxies, Damien. I like talking to you. I care about what we have. But I'm not going to be your weakness or your scandal. His voice softened. You're not my weakness. No, she smiled sadly. Tell that to your board. Or your shareholders. Or the press. Ariana. She shook her head. You said you wanted honesty. So here it is. I can't be part of your world. And you shouldn't have to hide. Damien felt something inside him fracture. For years he had believed that money granted stability, that power secured everything. And yet, the one thing he wanted, someone who saw him as human, not a title, was slipping away. Not because she wanted more. Because she believed she wasn't enough. For the first time in his life, Damien Hale walked away from a board meeting early, silencing every protest. He drove straight to the small apartment building Ariana lived in, climbed the stairwell 2 steps at a time, and knocked on her door. She opened it in shock. Damien. No, he said firmly, stepping inside. This time I'm the one saying no. She stared at him. No to what? To letting fear decide. For us. She swallowed. Damien. He took her hands, his voice uncharacteristically unsteady. I used to think power was control. That saying yes meant winning. But then you, this maid who wasn't afraid of me, looked me in the eye and said no. Her breath caught. You changed me, he whispered. You made me see everything wrong with the man I had become. And everything right with the man I could be. Ariana felt tears sting her eyes. I don't want a world without you, he continued. Not as a secret, not as a scandal, not as a convenience. I want you in my life because with you, I finally feel like a person, not a product. She looked away, overwhelmed. Damien, your world will chew me apart. Then I'll build one that won't, he said fiercely. One where you're not beneath me. You're beside me. Silence filled the room, soft, trembling, real. Ariana closed her eyes. I don't know if I can survive your world. Then let me survive it with you. She exhaled shakily, the wall she'd built around her heart cracking, slowly, beautifully. Damien. He waited. And finally, she whispered the one word she had never allowed herself to say. Yes. Years later, reporters would write about the CEO who transformed his company's culture, who fought for workers' rights, who built scholarships for underpaid staff. They would write about how love humbled him, reshaped him, rebuilt him from the inside out. But the truth was simpler. It began with a maid who said no. And a billionaire who finally learned why that word mattered.